Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Killer7. The game decided to crash, and I think it's done that twice after being left paused. That's not particularly that strange, honestly, for games, like, particularly since I have like OBS open that might cause some crashes too. But yeah, I've seen it fairly common that if you leave a game paused for 8 hours, it will just crash, probably because of a memory leak problem that just would never have been caught in quality assurance testing, because nobody's going to leave a game paused and really care about that. Even if they found that bug, it's not really worth it to the developers of the game to fix it. It does point out a problem, certainly, as to games that don't have checkpoints, though. So had the game crashed and I didn't have a save file right where I was, that would have been some redone content that would have been annoying. We may have to shoot the eyes of this guy, and that could be really difficult in that boss fight. We're about at the boss fight. Interestingly, when you launch this game, it does warn you away from the game, saying that there's violence in the game. But noticeably, it doesn't bother to warn you away from the implied sexual act that we see in the middle of the game with Samantha, the bad Samantha, humping Harman in his drooling, mentally incapacitated state. Which, yeah, over my lifetime, these warnings went from not existing at all at the beginning of art and media. You just went and saw something, and if it wasn't kid appropriate, too bad, that's just the way the world works, and you'd have to just give your parental guidance as you're saying it or after the fact. To we have now gone to the point where everything has ratings, and the ratings in movies and TV and video games aren't terrible, although particularly for video games, almost every game is rated M for mature. There are no games that ever cross the line for adults only, and very few games that try to get E for everyone, for really young kids. In fact, there's just not very many young kid games at all, and that's slightly annoying because they've mostly just gamified the ESRB ratings and video game ratings in general, much like they've gamified movie ratings, where everything is going for a PG-13 or an R, and there are no X or adult only movies that ever come out in theaters, and there aren't any real G movies that come out in theaters, well, very few. But particularly, you could see how Suda 51, as a Japanese person and coming from that Japanese, probably anime otaku culture, if I was just to assume, doesn't even bat an eye to a character being in a gimp suit, and being just throughout the game, and just having this implied sexual fetish element in the game, and not having to warn players away from that. You see, he doesn't bat an eye at having the only female persona in this dress covered in blood that's pretty short, and then having the camera very often right under her during an upskirt shot of some sort. And he didn't bat an eye against Samantha being in different poses. Right. Ooh. This isn't where we were. Did I seriously not save?
Don't make me say it again. I'm a cleaner.
I don't want to save, but we can check here. Oh, I loaded the wrong save file. I think I misread it and grabbed 26 when I should have grabbed 55, which means I'm going to have to hit this. Are you sure you want to return to title screen? Yes. And will that actually take me to the title screen? Wow, it did. It's funny, I thought that actually took me to just to the desktop last time I did that. It's still incredibly too easy to hit the back button and go to the title screen and treat that like an escape button, when really you should, in the pause menu, have more of a prompt. Right. Let's just go out of this area. Yeah, this is the area.
Hurts, doesn't it?
That guy being there, facing the wrong direction. I will take that easy shot. Yeah. This first life building could... Okay. I was not expecting that. You have what I assume is rust on this wall, and you have it completely as a fake facade. It seems like there's nobody here at all. But yeah, it really wouldn't make a lot of sense that there would be happy smiles here. Even building a facade like this is something that most people wouldn't succeed at, in keeping it quiet. But obviously, the idea of creating a perfect city and creating a cult around it has not led to this massive financial success as a runner of a business, and there's really no reason why it would. It just all falls down. Interesting. I suppose some people could try to make an argument that this is maybe a little unfair, that the only dark-skinned enemy we've seen so far in the game is a total fraud, whereas the angel enemy and his cult seem to succeed very well to make happy smiles, and the Japanese old-timers seem to actually at least run their government party to some level of success. I don't think that would be particularly the fairest argument to make, though, because we also have Garcian as a personality who is a dark-skinned hero, and this game is incredibly diverse, particularly for a Japanese game, as far as the different personalities. There's not really one character that I would straight up say is even Japanese. Maybe Dan is supposed to be Japanese, but Kaede could be like any kind of Westerner character or a Japanese character. Coyote clearly is also dark-skinned in a Mexican Latino way, and Mask Day Smith is almost certainly a Mexican wrestler. So yeah, that's a lot of diversity. We're just going into a control room, and I guess we're going to be surprised that nobody's there.
Made it. Well, how was your trip here? This city I've created is a paradise.
We've got another one of these flat 2D animation cutscenes.
A model of peace. But our corporation, First Life Inc., it doesn't exist. No, sir. It just runs commercials. You see, people judge books by the covers. Oh, today's job is done. Ah, yes, you just might be able to meet today's lucky guy. Don't be alarmed. These are good citizens. No heaven smile.
So he's just brainwashing them?
Clemens, congratulations!
Me? Is it really me? Wow, I can't believe it!
Relax, Clemens.
So why is he in the spacesuit?
Calm down, or you'll frighten Lady Luck away.
You're right. What should I do?
They all seem
Like I
very
told you,
pale,
first, you need to
with
relax.
no color in their eyes.
Your job will be here any moment. Clemens, this is yours. Go ahead, take a spin.
Huh? This car? Is it really mine?
Of course it is. Now take it and do what you want with it.
It's really mine.
Hop in
So
and find out.
he seems to be making cars that would shoot towards the moon, and I guess this is how we're gonna get to the moon. Because we kept seeing the moon.
Clemens's job had a $5 million price tag. This is what he gets to do. This is what I call driving yourself to death. He's a human being. How long will Clemens last, or will he cross the finish line? If he makes it, he wins.
So it's not, I guess, going into space so much as just testing the G-forces.
With all kinds of deadly viruses. I overcame them time after time, discovering vaccines and creating medicine on the way. I overcame all the symptoms. But them smileys, they're different. The risks involved are at another realm. I mean, it's flirting with fucking death itself. I want you to kill me. If I catch Heaven's smile, you gotta kill me. I heard you're the only one who can kill them.
Weird, and now we're getting planes out of nowhere. This story is pretty insane. So he's wearing the spacesuit to avoid Heaven's smile. And now some kind of government agency is coming in and injecting him, potentially, with something. Is this the level at which Heaven's smile has gained power?
I'm General Lynch from the United States Emergency Countermeasure Defense Department. I want to thank you for cooperating in the capture of Mr. Ulmeda. As you may know, this city is run by the military. This city remains a vital instrument for determining our country's safety standards. So I ask you, forget what you witnessed here today.
General, beginning countdown, sir.
Aim!
On your mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Mark.
So they just blew him up?
I told you to kill me. Now I'm going mad. I can't control this urge to kill.
So it seems like the US military is
Get this over with once and for all.
is spreading Heavenly Smile, and or they are just using Omeda to do incredibly unethical, stupid safety tests on fast cars and other things.
Take cover. Hurry.
It's weird that the military general would say aim and then hand the rest of the orders over to the guy on the radio instead of just telling the guy on the radio to do it, to aim and fire and Right, so there goes his afro. And it does certainly come off very much like he is just unkillable or very difficult to kill. We could go into the wagon and do nothing. We could go this way into the desert and probably run away, but fairly obvious we're gonna run in here and that you're gonna have this like wall of cars or ambulances. It would be funny, certainly, if this, like, all the ambulances are connected for some way, weird reason. There's like no map around this. It would be funny if this is just like a puzzle with no real fight. And I guess I'm running. Let's go with ambulance 7. So this seems to me like this is a circle with some branching paths. With an instant kill. So now we run into a real danger of selecting Garcia in here and sending him out from Harman's room and not being able to really do anything here. Like, I really don't want to sit through that entire cutscene again. And it seems fairly obvious that they don't want us to have to sit through the whole cutscene again, because they put the dead body out on the edge.
Look, I'm a cleaner. I can feel no remorse when seeing a dead body. To me, it's merely cold, rotting flesh.
And getting 8 times the abilities, or 6 times the ability, 6 times tapping A doesn't seem to matter. We're still closed as far as creating any more serum. So it would be really hard to justify playing as anybody other than Kaede. And can't really skip this cutscene, it seems. Probably can't run back that way anyways. What sucks here, though, is we've got to kind of get a twist. We've got to figure out where the guy is. And unless he's going to do some audio prompts to tell us where he is, it's going to be fairly hard. Right. See, running around that way is actually not worth it. Let's go ahead and recover. Alright, so I get it now. You have to run around and shoot him in the brain. And is that the entire fight? I don't know. Obviously we're following this blood pattern. And you hear him laughing, and we hear blood's dropping. Yep. This game, I guess, isn't quite gory enough in the style of gore that you'd really need to warn people against. There's a lot of blood, but that's about it. Yeah, we're once again getting one of these flat 2D cutscenes.
What happened to Mr. Olmeda? Huh?
He actually survived, although his hand looks...
It tastes like Mr. Olmeda's.
How would he know his blood?
He's dead, isn't he? I've always had a sixth sense. If I had only attained Mr. Olmeda's level earlier.
Clemens, you're in control of things now. Walk down the path of life. Don't succumb to weakness. Take the big risks.
Rest assured, Master Olmeda, I will watch over this town. Our way of life stands eternal. May peace rest with our great Olmeda, our Messiah.
So he just becomes a martyr. And that's it for Cloudman as a level. A lot of cutscenes in that. And one thing I'll say compared to No More Heroes is No More Heroes drops pretty much all the characterization and cutscenes and all of that nonsense in favor of just having a list, a ranking. The day when he stopped smiling is the day we remember his smile. So now we're doing Encounter, which, by the way, I'm not pressing any buttons to move any of this forward. It's just doing it by itself. Like, the idea of trying to be the #1 ranked assassin at the very beginning of the game in No More Heroes, and then just saying, look, here's a list of 10 assassins you have to seek out and defeat, makes it a much smoother experience in favor of hack and slash gameplay, and a much better gameplay mechanic than what we have here, which really is more like puzzle third-person shooting than even third-person shooting, because most of these enemies have critical points that you have to hit if you want to stand any chance at all of succeeding, and even some of the critical points you hit don't actually quite work. I imagine at this point I also should just give up on any thought of keeping save files. We should probably just overwrite this #1 save file, which was, I think, at the beginning of the game, because there's just no need for it. We're not going to go back to that point. We should probably overwrite this save file, and we should probably overwrite save files. Yeah. I guess maybe I would overwrite the ones at the end more than the ones at the beginning. Yeah, let's do that. So now we have target 3, and at the look of this, it seems like there probably are 7 targets, but the areas may very well be smaller. The problem with Cloudman in particular, and now we see a yellow moon, is, and maybe that is just to indicate different times, is Cloudman probably is just not going to be an important character in the game going forward, unless they're going to have us come back at the very end and have to fight all the bosses a second time. And even if that was the case, Cloudman as a character isn't even really connected to the Heavenly Smiles. He was just avoiding the Heavenly Smiles, and also seemed to be running a cult and very very much being successful at defeating viruses. So we're looking through the eyes of a killer, but the characters we play as are killers too, so it's hard to feel too different about that. You would have kind of hoped that you would have gotten a lot of thick blood with all that raining blood in at the end of Cloudman, who I guess he turned into a cloud because he was raining blood. I guess that's the pun idea. This cutscene almost feels like it would have been a demo of what the game was going to be about, just dungeon crawling in office buildings. And the character we're looking at does seem like he's kind of floating around, moving fairly fast. Just like people not reacting fast enough at all. So did he shoot that last girl or not?
Please leave your message after the tone.
Hello, Mr. Smith. The election is drawing near.
See, that's a weird.
If you haven't, please let the Republic Party make the most of your precious vote. Thank
He's
you
getting
and have a nice day.
political messages every time. So I guess that's a weird way to introduce a character, just by showing they're a killer. We kind of would assume that for all the characters we run into. And not showing his face until the last second, I don't think really changes anything. What I'm looking for here would be, are we going to have the bottle caps in any way still on display like we kept him? And it doesn't seem like we are. We still have screaming, and we still have two people locked up. And here we have the real bad Samantha, once again just abusing him.
Here. Come on. It's really good. Open your mouth. Eat, damn it! Hey, what are you doing? Don't just stand there. Get this old fart to eat, will you? Are you gonna finish your meal or what? I don't have time for this shit. You know I'm busy with my classes.
So yeah. This seems like this is the reality of the situation, and everything else in the game is fiction. And it's a sad story. It's actually the most offensive story or depiction, in my opinion, in the whole game, because you just don't have a shock value for weird or crazy things. Yeah, we have no thick blood. Maybe the thick blood from the last run will carry over when we actually get into a level.
How long has it been?
But you just don't see elder abuse, disabled people abuse shown in games, and probably for a good reason. Like, I don't think many people want to see that anyways, but yeah, I would warn people around that more than I would warn people around the violence in this game, because the violence in this game is pretty much average for any immature game. Like, doesn't matter what game you're playing. If you're playing Resident Evil 4 and shooting zombies, there's a lot of shooting and violence in that. If you're playing Call of Duty, you're shooting a bunch of people. If you're playing Fortnite, you're shooting a bunch of people. Guns and violence is the default mode for pretty much almost every game that exists. I wish more games didn't have those gameplay mechanics and tried other ways, but there's only a few subsections of games that aren't like that, and they are not in any ways as popular.
The master is awake.
The Surge. It's Curtis.
Curtis? The one who killed Dan years ago.
It's as if fate has woke him up. He'll soon make his move.
Shall I take care of him?
Curtis? No, it's all right. He's just a punk with a gun. Dan's more than he can handle.
As you wish.
Samantha, the lights.
Yes, master.
So pretty much,
Jeez, will someone wax the damn floor?
that's just out of the blue. Notice he doesn't have a gun on his wheelchair in this either. It almost feels like Garcian is carrying his gun. There's nothing else you can really do with the TV. Yep. No bottle caps that I can see, and I can't go into like cursor mode or aim mode. The story still feels very much all over the place. It does definitely seem like each of these personalities are being implied that they came from somebody who was already murdered or dead. So like their ghost inhabiting Harman.
He's been laying low in the public agency for 15 years.
So he's working for the government.
Rumor has it that he's involved with some kind of organ deals. Organs to be used as raw material for the creation of the Smileys.
So he's after children. That's as vile as you're gonna get.
Hurry! Children are disappearing at the fairgrounds.
Blood of innocent children is unnecessary.
So yeah, the guys seem to be bad, but I don't know if Encounter, the guy we're going after, is Curtis. I think he probably isn't. Let's see. Villainy at the Ishizaki Island. Assignment number 37. Get rid of most of the assassin Curtis Blackburn. Okay, we are going after Curtis. So now we are playing not as Curtis but as Khan, or not as Dan but as Khan. We're gonna have to play as Khan for a while here before we can actually unlock and open Wake Up Kade. So the game definitely does try to balance things out. Also, it got rid of all the thick blood and thin blood, so you are just starting over. It does kind of just feel like the game itself probably should have a level select if it's going to go in that direction. Let's see if we've got anything new, or can we finally at this point be done with the enemies. Nope, we've got 3 more enemies, so it probably benefits us just to look at the first two of these and get a hint as to how to beat them. New type of enemy called the Protector. This tough shell helps to defend it, but surely the mask can defeat it. Show them to the gates of hell in the name of Harman. Then Protector Z sounds like it's maybe a different version of the Protector. Protector Z. Mask standard shells have no effects. It's fully insulated from fire. However, its nervous control system is weak. Use the mask's shock shells, bring out their lights out. So it sounds like the Protector Z in particular has to be played by the mask character. You have to use the special ability. Okay. It's not closed. And we need to defeat 11 more opponents before we can wake her up. We can see that she is in a different dress once again.
Okay then.
And I suspect some of these characters are in different outfits. Although some of these outfits are kind of iconic, so it doesn't really feel like their outfits change. Which that seems a little inconsistent. Right. This guy can pump people full of lead, but he's not that leveled up. I assume I'm not supposed to try and like shoot balloons. Those seem to be just background things. Interesting how he reloads his guns with his feet. That's crazy. It's wonderful, just wonderful. I just love roller coasters. But first let's find the white-haired punk with a gun. The children are in trouble. The fun will have to wait. In the name of Harman. That's the first time he has said it is good instead of saying something bad. The park is closed. Not a damn soul around. Straight up, this is a great place to go undercover. Just a place for the old man to hide out in. Hard to believe this terrible things happen right here in this theme park. Hell, this place is linked to the orphan trading syndicate. Alright, Mr. Smith. The white-headed man is a sly old fox. We may just get on a roller coaster and... Okay. Oops. Just like, I guess I gotta run up to this guy. I thought I was supposed to hit this guy in the head. And yet that didn't seem like that worked at all. We haven't even killed enough people. Like, so I'm just gonna run. Yeah, I don't even know what I was supposed to do there. The number of times anybody other than Kaede has taken damage has been very, very low. Maybe one character had 1 or 2 characters have died besides her, but once. With Kaede being the main character I'm playing as. Alright, I'm just gonna run. Am I supposed to shoot the popcorn machine, maybe? I don't know.
Look, I'm a cleaner. I can feel no remorse in seeing a dead body. To me, it's merely cold, rotting flesh.
Not trying to save quite yet. I don't want to end on such a failure. Do have a little bit of thick blood. We need 10 more kills.
What did you say?
Okay,
So
then.
my thought here is maybe I'm supposed to just play as Masked Smith, and this is the point where the game really is pushing you towards playing as different characters. Right. See, he does have like this fire effect that he's doing, even though stamina effects, we have the stamina ring enabled. I think you pretty much have to reload. Are we in the map section? Yeah. Interesting how he kind of sidles down here. I do want to just kind of see what the pose is. So it does seem like the Protector, Protector Z both need probably the Mask Z. I know we just looked at this, but I obviously forgot what it said. Its tough shell helps defend it, but the mask can defeat it, show them the gates of hell. Yeah. I just didn't understand what that meant. When he says mask, he's using a nickname for Masked Smith. Not that I needed to attack the monster in the mask. This awkwardly shaped thing is equipped with the flying ability, but is burdened with a complex past. The cockpit is the weak point. Take it out like a puny fly. In the name of Harman. Okay. So we gotta play as Mask. And in a funny way, this probably does indicate that the Mask character needs to be upgraded. You haven't got enough strength to go. We need the power of a true hero of the ring. A hero who can destroy anything in the name of Harman. So the game is now telling you straight up that you need to play as Masked Smith. Not enough flame. Okay. We will then Put the flame ring on. Well, I'm pressing the Y button, but I don't think I have any blood where I could even use the Y button. So, seems like we're gonna have to take this direction first. Well, leaving it on the flame ring is probably not a terrible idea. And they're just really stretching this. String quartet. So here we have a broken smile. Something just attacked me. Interesting. So you don't have to actually... You don't actually have to destroy the ones with the weak point on the back. Okay, so where did we come in? We are here. If we go straight forward, it seems like that's probably going to be not that much. So we should probably go straight forward first. And see where this leads. It's wonderful. Wonderful nap. The breeze has caught the balloons to get caught. And that's where I hid the soul shell. Which means we need to take to the wind. I'm not really succeeding yet. I'm really not succeeding here at reading all of this. Okay. Does seem like there's some people here. Let's go into Cinema 4. You can see there's a treasure chest in Cinema 4. And doesn't seem like there's anything else. It's interesting he didn't just jump up, considering how he is a wrestler. Now you are the main event. Interesting. So now you have a different outfit. Is the different outfit potentially going to give you different it's kind of obviously something there. And that reload was fast. I'm gonna go and recover one blood. Think we're probably not needing that quite yet. If anything, stamina might be better. Everything is at power level 2 though, still. And we don't have the bottle caps from the previous level. We still just have pigeon memos. Doesn't seem like there's a way that you could change your outfit back. So I guess the real question just would come down to whether this possibly would help you take less damage, but it would be kind of hard for it to help you take less damage. You would almost certainly have to be up. More of a... Darn it. It'd almost have to just be more damage. And maybe it is just more damage. Let's just go into Cinema 3. It does really beg a question here, as far as why not play as this guy instead of Kaede? And I suspect the reason why this wouldn't work so much is because this is at level 2 speed and level 2 power, and if you were just playing the first level at level 0 with Mask Day Smith, he would be too slow and too weak. This is quite a history between the old man and Hellion. Hellion go. If the chief wouldn't be able to hold him back, where did he get killed anyway? Chief, you recovered the body, no? Tell me straight up, just how much do you know? Yeah, apparently don't know anything. Here we have some people to talk to, I guess. Do you like war? You should know the answer to that. I don't consider it war. That's a one-sided judgment. In Japan, 80 million lives disappear in an instant. The entire country destroyed and the world stands by in silence. That's because this is an age of power. Partner, you're an idealist. But you know what? They live in fright. The maggots live on. This should be quite a sight. We'll have our revenge. The whole world will pay for its sins. Our will lives on. So, yeah, that feels like maybe there's nothing here. Like, let's just investigate that. Yeah, it seems like that's the case. Just some cutscenes and people to talk to. And I guess that gives us some backstory that Japan was just nuked off the planet. Let's just look this way. Make sure there isn't someone coming the opposite direction. And I guess if you hit the guy and he's not scanned, they won't do any damage to him. Just make sure there's nothing behind us. There is something behind us, but it's far away, so we'll just ignore that. Cinema 2. Just make short work of all of this. Remember, we don't have a critical lock here, so this might be just another great example of struggling to really pull off what you need to pull off here. I'm kind of glad that there aren't that many I'm really struggling here. Yeah, I just don't know if you can really take on these guys. You would think by now I would have been able to hit the yellow. But it doesn't really feel like I am hitting the yellow. There's just too much wiggle around it. So we'll switch to a character who is going to have at least a higher chance.
That's what I thought.
There we've gotten one of the guys eliminated. I almost took damage there when unnecessary. Anytime we run into these duplicators, it definitely feels like it is just an infinite shooting gallery situation. And I'm just trying to unload as much bullets as possible into the... That's two down. I'm going to move a little bit forward. That way I can target this third area. Almost messed up there.
That's what I thought.
Notice here, though, that the downward attack is playing a big factor on this, too. And this is much more in line with what I would expect for a shooting game of this style, is that you would constantly just be pumping bullets into enemies. Yep. I really didn't get you that much thick blood even. But we are definitely at a point now where it is fairly obvious that you're going to have to switch between characters. You sure don't show much interest in your pals. Do these people even exist? You're not the one of those multiple personalities, are you? The old man... Dan learned the ABCs of murder from the old man. Dan was accused of betrayal and taken out in an alley. No trial for that one, baby chief. You're the one who recovered the body, right? But Pedro, who had connections to the self-defense force, was the man behind it all. Well, it seems like there's a save space somewhere here. Let's get into that. And we are very late in the game, certainly, for them to start to really expand on multiple personalities. But we've only got 2 more of these to do, so let's do it. I really wish there were achievements in this game, because reading all of this is worth an achievement. Members of the Syndicate are under your command. They're not simple multiple personalities. They're perfect research subject. Multiple personalities, but with multiple bodies. Your very own monopolized field. However, Garcian cannot change personality at will. You must use the TV and watch for the security camera in the name of Harman. And then these remnant psyches might be completely different characters. Hatred abounds. The transparent bodies that haunt you are remnant psyches. They refuse to let go of their attachment to this world. Why is this happening, you ask? You should know why, Master. Because you killed them. But then... there are those who would rather be dead, so thank you. Like myself. In the name of Harman. So this guy was somebody that we also killed. Well, with that, we've seen everything there is to see for the moment. Still seems like there's enough room for 2 or 3 more tabs, which hopefully aren't just 2 or 3 more tabs of Heavenly Smiles, but very possibly could be. These Heavenly Smiles certainly get forgotten fairly quickly, though. So, if this was a bigger game that was more focused around the shooting, you would make every level twice as long and have twice as many enemies. Fairly obviously. Okay. So, I guess the question here is just going to come down to, is the shop going to close down again?
Don't make me say it again.
Open up, wake up Kade. She still by far is our best option. And
What did you say?
I think there is probably an argument here. You can see Master Smith's outfit has changed. To just try and bring everything up to level 3. Like the critical lock ability that Kade has is sometimes nice, but you have to hold the left trigger to really use it, and so I haven't gotten the most amount of use out of it. Plus, it just does seem like you're going to run into a situation where it's going to make sense to bump everything up to level 3 before trying to get her to level 5.
Don't make me say it again.
There definitely was a thought around just trying to bump up Dan as your main character to level 5, but
What?
I honestly don't think any of these characters really can play on their own. Like, it does seem, particularly in this sequence, you have to go around everything. Okay, so we were keeping the beginning of each level where we save. So let's get rid of the end of sunset here and overwrite that. Save successful. And then let's just walk out into the hallway. Yeah. We're back to Kaede. We are using the stamina ring. There's really nothing else to say. We need the wind ring at one point to get the soul shell bullet, and then it kind of doesn't seem like we leave this area at all. It kind of feels like instead we're just going to go back. And we started at the main entrance, and there was no boss fight, even though that looks like a decent place where a boss fight could happen. And then the light canopy street, and then this. So I would expect that there's at least 3 more locations. There's no gimmick of getting collectibles. There probably isn't going to be another gimmick of answering questions. I think this level is probably going to feel a lot more like the first and second level. We still have a lot of game here, and I'm still slightly surprised that I can actually play this game. Like, if you had told me that killer7 was really a slight action game with just a lot of visual novel dialogue in it, I would have probably believed you. If you told me that the game was really janky and impossible to control, I might have believed you on that too. I really just had no expectations for this game at all, and so I've been pleasantly surprised to see that there is actually an experience here. It's a weird experience, but I was assuming that that was what it was going to be. I would feel bad for somebody who just blindly bought this game on Steam and didn't know anything about it, as far as how weird it is, but otherwise, I think most people know that they're getting something weird like Suda51. Although, in all fairness, No More Heroes 1, at least, doesn't even get that weird. The enemies you're fighting are weird, but the overall story is just so surface level that it doesn't come off as off-putting, where this storyline is a thicker story. It's more detailed. It's telling us a lot of stuff, and I could see getting caught in the weeds while trying to follow this story. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.